The Tunnel to Summer, The Exit of Goodbyes did an anime movie speedrun any percent with tons of changes and cutscenes they removed from the original source material. I'll be showing you those removed scenes in chronological order, so let's get started. Chapter 1, Monochrome Skies. The light novel started with the MC dreading the summer heat, while in the movie we see a breathtaking fireworks scene and then the MC waking up from class. At this point, both the movie and the light novel introduced our main heroine in a different way. In the light novel, the MC got late and missed the first period in class due to a deer getting hit by a train. In the movie, the heroine and the MC interacted by throwing edgy jokes at each other. This event happens in chapter 2 in the novel, and I'll be getting into that part later on. Moving on to the next scene, Kawasaki gets introduced in the movie and becomes Hanashiro's punching bag, which is rightfully deserved. The light novel went for a light approach of Hanashiro chugging down Kawasaki's drink to prove a point not to fuck with her. Moving forward, the novel gives the readers a lot of exposition about the MC's backstory. In the movie, they put all the exposition in two scenes, which are the aquarium date and Hanashiro's apartment. Finally, in the event of encountering the Urashima Tunnel, Tono in the movie gets berated by his father, telling him he was a mistake, which led him to run away from home and almost getting hit by a train and then accidentally finding the Urashima Tunnel. While in the novel, the MC gets hit with depression and goes for a night walk that led him to the Urashima Tunnel. And that's the end of chapter 1. So, summarizing this, the movie took some liberties in changing the pace and moving canon events in different orders, ultimately ending up in the same end point. But the journey is different, so let's move on to chapter 2. Chapter 2, Sweat and Hair Conditioners. In the novel, the Urashima Tunnel went for a traditional construct of an abandoned tunnel with its mossy, overgrown vines and antique vibe, as it leads to the aging torii gates, symbolizing the gateway that separates the ordinary world from the sacred world, where anything you wish or desire will come true. On the other hand, the design and overall feel of the Urashima Tunnel in the movie went for a sci-fi design with its man-made triangular entrance, and the bright red maple trees with their alien-like design that guides the person to seek their wishes. In Japanese culture, maple trees or momojis are symbolism for Kitto, which translates to calm rest or peace, meaning that they will lead to avoidance of stress and accidents and create a safe environment for a happy life. Both the movie and the light novel started at school with Tono coming back from his journey inside the Urashima Tunnel, like 2 weeks after. The movie sped-run this part with Tono talking to Kaga and Anzu briefly, cutting to Tono going inside the Urashima Tunnel while Hanashiro follows him. Eventually, Tono explained the situation to Hanashiro and they ended up working together to uncover the mystery of the Urashima Tunnel. But in the light novel, we finally arrived at the punching event and the small but forgettable introduction of Kawasaki's boyfriend. The boyfriend threatens Hanashiro for punching Kawasaki at the nose. Hanashiro pulls a sneaky punch on the boyfriend, resulting in Hanashiro getting smacked to the ground and getting kicked right in the stomach. While Tono and Kaga starts panicking, Hanashiro recovers from the kick and pounces on the boyfriend's back, and she grabbed the pen out of her pocket and starts stabbing him with the pen. After the fight, Tono watched over Hanashiro, momentarily leading to the no parents conversation we see in the first minute of the movie, which led Hanashiro sneakily chasing Tono to the tunnel and ending up with the same end result with them working together. But in my opinion, the movie cut the most important part of Hanashiro's slow and gradual change of character, which will be shown later on in the video, but for now, we get to see this laugh that can lighten up your mood and this captivating smile that can make you fall in love at first sight. So, summarizing chapter 2, we get the brief appearance of Kawasaki's boyfriend and witness Hanashiro's unhinged actions while also revealing some unexpected wholesome reactions that this psychopath doesn't show in the movie. Chapter 3, When the Rain Lets Up. After their newly proposed collaboration to uncover the Urashima Tunnel's mystery, the movie went for a montage approach where we see different time periods of Tono and Hanashiro meeting up at the tunnel and conducting their experiments, Hanashiro and Kawasaki's apology scene, and eventually their aquarium date where Tono opened up to Hanashiro about his mission and past. Then the appearance of Hanashiro's manga that she drew as a kid, then leading up to Hanashiro inviting Tono to her house, which takes place in chapter 4 in the light novel, but this is chapter 3. Her letting Tono in her house is a way to show vulnerability and open up to Tono, her backstory, dreams, and motivation to enter the tunnel, which solidifies her overall seriousness in entering the tunnel. In the light novel, it shows Tono and Hanashiro conducting their experiment while we watch Hanashiro show cute emotions we've never seen before in the movie, leading up to what I call the Kawasaki side quest. This side quest has a great effect on the narrative, and it just adds a layer of character development to Kawasaki later on. To quickly summarize this side quest, Tono was tasked with giving Kawasaki's assignments to her since she hasn't been in school since the punching incident. So Tono went while Hanashiro tagged along. They confronted Kawasaki at her house, and then it started raining, and her mom forced her to let Hanashiro and Tono inside their house. Then Hanashiro started criticizing Kawasaki for her actions, like pretending to have a boyfriend and being a plastic bitch. Then she started crying. Her brothers came out of the closet, harassing Hanashiro because she was bullying their older sister. Her mom telling them to be patient with Kawasaki, and Hanashiro lecturing Kawasaki, which ends up in her newfounded transformation. That also makes Tono rethink his viewpoint on change. After that, we get the same events as the movie, which is the appearance of Hanashiro's manga, but showcasing Hanashiro's vulnerable side of being claustrophobic and opening up to Tono about her wanting to become someone special and how the tunnel will provide that for her. And that's where the chapter ends. In summary, the movie quickens the process of Tono and Hanashiro's relationship, while in the novel, it went for a different track that develops Kawasaki's character, also making progress in developing Hanashiro and Tono as well. Chapter 4. Her dream is reality. Chapter 4 starts in the classroom when Tono's leaving, but Kaga stopped him in his tracks and asked if he should hang out together. Tono ultimately refused, but Kaga insisted and mentioned he was concerned about Tono's well-being and his absence in class, but still Tono left and declined his offer. That was the last time we see him in the novel. After that, Tono and Hanashiro went on their usual experiment, concluding with Tono losing his house key and Hanashiro offering him to stay at her place for the time being. She brought Tono to her place and she showered while Tono waited for her, looked around in Hanashiro's stuff. She came lightly dressed and the atmosphere of the room changed. Then she opened up about her strict parents, turning into an almost kissing scene, Tono blue-balling Hanashiro, mentioning her manga. And Hanashiro went apeshit on him, yelling and screaming, but eventually calmed down, and they talked even more about Hanashiro's past and dreams. After a few days, Hanashiro got an invitation from Kawasaki to go to the summer festival, and Hanashiro asked Tono to go with her. He asked his dad for permission to go out, but was suspicious of how he has been acting lately. They met up, Tono mesmerized by Hanashiro. Kawasaki arrives asking why he was here. Hanashiro saying she invited him, and they went on their merry way to the summer festival while Kawasaki interrogated both of them in the bus about being a couple, neither of them claiming nor denying they were. After that, they enjoyed the festival, talking about Hanashiro changing and how Kawasaki changed as well. The fireworks started and Tono and Hanashiro held hands, and then Tono saw his mother and got PTSD, but Hanashiro helped him calm down. In the movie, we just get to see Tono and Hanashiro have a one-on-one date, enjoying each other's company, Tono bringing up Karen and her death date, which was August the 2nd. Hanashiro comforts him by holding his hand. In the light novel, Hanashiro set the date instead of Tono, since Hanashiro has like a particular reason why she set it up on August the 2nd. After that, the light novel and movie aligned. He was disgusted and vomited at the fact that his dad found a new mom for him. They went out to the cafe to talk about postponing their full-fledged expedition on August the 2nd for different reasons. In the movie, it is the date when Karen died, but in the light novel, it's the date where Hanashiro got her results from the manga competition she entered. Hanashiro depressed about postponing the expedition. In the movie, Tono cheered Hanashiro up by reenacting the first time they met, while in the light novel, Tono started flirting and complimenting Hanashiro out of the blue to cheer her up. It is probably one of the most cutest things I've ever seen. And that concludes Chapter 4. Chapter 4 contains a lot of changes in the movie. It plays some aspects like the manga inside the tunnel appeared much early on in the movie, the appearance of Kawasaki and his mother at the festival, the different reasoning why both of our MC and heroine picked August the 2nd, and the cute interaction between them at the end of the chapter. Chapter 5. The Run. This chapter aligns with the movie and the light novel. Tono left Hanashiro behind, sacrificing everything, even his feelings for Hanashiro, to get Karen back, saying that the tunnel doesn't grant anything you wish, but something you have lost. Hanashiro already gotten what she has lost, which is the first manga she ever made. Tono has lost a lot of things: his sister, his relationship with his parents, his self-worth, and the right to love. But the one thing that the tunnel returned to him is the right to love and to move forward with his life, leaving all that burden behind. The tunnel gave him back the cell phone he threw inside the tunnel. And in the light novel, Karen gave him the paper of permission to love someone again. The movie changed things up a bit by letting Tono send an SMS to Hanashiro, while the light novel goes for perspective of Hanashiro over the 5-year mark Tono leaving her. She draws manga for a living and has gotten writer's block after a long serialization. Then she got an invitation from Kawasaki just to catch up and meet up, and that meetup was the catalyst for why Hanashiro went inside the tunnel. Kawasaki provided support and gave Hanashiro the same advice she gave her when they were at her house, which ignited Hanashiro's fire and went inside the tunnel. After that revelation, they both ran for their lives, Tono tripping and falling unconscious, while Hanashiro saw Tono lying down on the ground, calling his name. Appearance-wise, Hanashiro didn't change much in the movie, but in the light novel, she made her hair shorter. But that didn't really change anything, so they kissed and went outside of the tunnel. But that's where the movie ended. In the light novel, they went and rent a cheap hotel, talking about the future, with Hanashiro proposing him to be her assistant for life, and Tono accepting this. Then they met up with Kaga and Kawasaki. Kawasaki crying punched Tono on the shoulder. Kaga was shocked, like he had seen a ghost. They explained the situation to them, and ultimately they started catching up and talking about nostalgia, until Kaga mentioned that he wanted to see the Orishima Tunnel. But then, the Orishima Tunnel just vanished, like it wasn't there in the first place. Unsatisfied with this conclusion, they parted ways, but Tono and Hanashiro went to Tono's old place. Kaga mentioned Tono's dad put it up for sale, but sadly, nobody bought it. So they entered the abandoned house and went for the backyard to get the metal container holding his little sister's mementos. And there was a letter of his father's new address and phone number. Tono not wanting to confront it right now, but Ansu grabbed his hand and gave him a smile saying she'll be there for him. And then, yeah, that's pretty much the end of chapter 5. So to summarize chapter 5, this pretty much had two different ways of bringing Tono and Hanashiro together. The movie using Tono's phone to send an SMS to Hanashiro, which in turn led her to the tunnel. And in the novel, Hanashiro went into the tunnel on her own volition and eventually found Tono lying down. The light novel adds a bit more closure by adding a reunion of the 4 characters, with Tono coming into terms with himself and looking forward into the future. So to pretty much summarize this video, the novel showed Hanashiro breaking out of her cold and arrogant state and developing herself to become a soft and loving character, while in the movie, she just stayed cool and reserved. But in an artistic point of view, the movie's hella beautiful, especially the aquarium scene and the shots in Hanashiro's room and the mute neutral color grading they did. Though that kinda removes the summer feel inside the title. So in all honesty, they removed some parts I like about the light novel, like Hanashiro's change in personality, Kawasaki, and the ending closure. But the message still stays the same. It's about someone who's tied down by guilt, heavy loss, and losing this sense of self-worth and the right to love someone because of the burden that was placed in him at a young age that fucked up his thinking. But realizing that he can let go of those burdens and move forward and go to the unforeseen future with the one he sees the true worth within him. And Hanashiro's case is just someone who can strive to get what she wants if she works hard for it, not giving a fuck what other people think of her, and growing up to show vulnerability and be able to wait and love someone for who they are, and be there for them when times are tough. So yeah, that's pretty much the conclusion of this long ass video. So I hope this provided you with some value. Comment down below what you think of the movie. Did you like it? What was your own interpretation of the message of the movie? Were those cut contents necessary? Well, anyways, here's a video about me overanalyzing an anime advertisement for a cram school. So yeah, I'll see you there. Bye!